Hello, and welcome back to the Onward Shift podcast. Today, we're fortunate enough to have Steve back with us. The first time he was on the show, he shared his really traumatic accident at work. But today, we'll be talking more about mental health and construction. Hey, Steve, how you getting on? You all right?
I'm good, Vish. How are you doing?
Can't complain. I can't complain. I really can't. But I'd love if you can give us a quick introduction on who you are again, for any new listeners who have joined in.
So, I'm Steve Kirby, or as my mum said, Steven Kirby. And my business is SK Life Coach UK, which is just Steve Kirby Life Coach UK. And it is, as it sounds, I'm a life coach, mindset coach. I help people who are struggling with not just kind of mental health, but any aspects of the life. They want to move forward, like new career, different prospects, just seeing things from a different perspective. But what I am passionate about is mental health, is depression, anxiety, PTSD, all the stuff that I'd lived through and learnt from and studied. So yeah, that's the reason I became a life coach, was because of the place I ended up. I wanted to help other guys, especially in construction, out of that hole.
Yeah, I completely get that.
And then I got asked to do a talk. I never intended to be a keynote speaker. Shared my story, got asked to share it again, and now I'm all over, Europe, the world, virtually. But yeah, it's getting that message out there, and I never realised how powerful sharing a story was until I started doing this. And now I know so many other people's stories as well. And by talking, by being open about our own story, it encourages other people then to talk about their own.
Absolutely. And I think as humans, we love storytelling and we like to listen, don't we? So, well, your story is exceptional. It's one of the hardest stories I think I've heard on the podcast. And if anyone's listening to this, just go back a few episodes and yeah, check it out because, gosh, it was intense. That was one bloody intense conversation, Steve. But yeah, I'd love to kind of get into the mental health side of things on construction because there's recently a survey that's come out by Chartered Institute of Building where they've done a survey 5 years ago and then they've done a new survey 5 years after. And it sounds like over the last 5 years, the mental health in construction has actually got worse. Worse in the sense of anxiety, stress, being overwhelmed. Not just that, but suicidal thoughts in the construction industry is, I believe, around 25%, which is a quarter of our workforce.
Yeah.
What is going on? Like, you're on sites, you're speaking to thousands of people every single year. What are you hearing on site?
A lot of people are really, really struggling. And I think compared to even maybe 5 years ago, like the time of my accident, mental health wasn't mentioned on site, so things have got better in that sense that we are talking about it. But I think there's a lot of talk and not a lot of action. So there's a lot of companies that are trying to do a lot and putting people for mental health first aid. But then when it comes to the actual support, like the NHS is so overwhelmed, they can't get people in, and a lot of people can't pay private or can't afford to pay private, living week to week. And then you've got other companies like Lighthouse and stuff like that who are trying to do amazing things. But it's just, there's so many people struggling, and I think that comes from the way the world is at the moment. Cost of living, the wars that are going on, people are anxious, people don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. And and a lot of guys, we don't talk about it for a long time, and then it builds and it builds and it builds, and then it gets to a point where the intrusive thoughts come because we haven't spoke about it. You know what I mean? So for me doing my talks, I guarantee whether I'm speaking to 10 people in a room or whether I'm speaking to 450 people in a room, I will always get somebody come and talk to me after hearing my story and share a part of theirs, or say that they're struggling with something and they could do with some advice. So, and that's on every single site I've been on, the people struggling.
That's crazy, and I think you touched on something really interesting there, where there's so many incredible charities doing phenomenal things supporting mental health in the construction industry, I think Lighthouse Charity published last year they supported £5 million worth of support. But you know what the sad thing is? I think they're like you said, they're not even scratching the surface with that because there are God hundreds of thousands of construction workers struggling and cost of living is ridiculous. But then not only that, they're living away from their families. They live in London, traveling to Nottingham for, a month's work. And we can't technically change that because that's just the way construction is. You bounce
Yeah.
around all over the show.
No,
But
sorry. My early
no,
days
no,
in
please.
construction, I was working away five days a week. Like, I
Mm,
travel. I remember working on a job in Weymouth. I was there for a few months, and we'd travel down on a Sunday, and I'd get home like Friday tea time, and then you'd be home Friday night, Saturday night, and then you're traveling again. And for us, like our digs was in a pub, so
mm,
you'd finish work, you'd go and have your meal, you'd have a pint of it, and then you'd end up having another pint, and then before you knew it, you'd had a few pints,
yeah,
and then you go into bed by yourself in a small dingy room, thinking about your family and what they're doing and what you're missing out on. And then when you're doing that day after day after day after day, it gets depressing. You know what I mean? It's understandable how guys get depressed. But again,
yeah,
a lot of guys suffer with depression but don't talk about it. So
yeah,
there's guys who were struggling, but on the outside they're smiling and saying, yeah, I'm all right, I'm good. When they're not,
absolutely.
they're constantly battling in here.
But how do you? So, I think there's so many avenues we can kind of go into here, but you know, being a guy, you're struggling with these intrusive thoughts. It's really hard. Like, I've been in those shoes where I'm like, life is really, really crap at the moment. I don't know what to do. And it took a hell of a lot of courage for me to step up and go, I'm gonna go see a therapist. But what advice would you give to guys who are in that space of really bad space? But what can we kind of educate them or teach them or tell them the first step should be to go speak to that psychiatrist, therapist, coach, counselor?
It's really difficult because when I was there, like for those who haven't heard my story, like before my accident happened, if somebody had said to me, "Oh, I feel really depressed, I feel really down, I need some time off work," I'd be like, "Oh man, up, deal with it." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's an excuse to stay off work. I had no sympathy or empathy towards it because I hadn't gone through it. But then after the accident happened and the PTSD, the anxiety, it all got worse. I'd sit really, really struggling. Like I'd sit in the bathroom and just cry because I just felt so crap and down. But then I'd splash my face and I'd walk out, and whether it was my partner at the time or if my mum or family was down, and they'd be like, "How are you doing?" I'm like, yeah, I'm all right. I'm good. I'm really good. But I wasn't really good. It was I just didn't want to admit to anybody that. But I didn't think I needed therapy either. I don't know where my head was at the time, but I just kept thinking, I'm dealing with it. I will deal with it. I'll sort it. But
Mm,
it's like I say now, nothing changes if nothing changes. So if you're waking up every morning and you're in that, you're battling with your mind, but you keep telling yourself, I'll deal with it. I'll sort it. It'll go. Unless you speak out and admit to yourself first that you're struggling, and then that's the first step is admitting to yourself that you need help. Once you've done that, speak to somebody else, whether it's family, whether it's friends, whether it's a stranger, whether it's say, Andy's Man Club,
mm,
Lighthouse, myself, ring your GP, but you need to speak. Once you speak to somebody and you get that support, that's when your life starts changing again. But
mm.
it's that self-talk that we all have in our heads plays a major part. Because if you're in a negative space and you're stressing and you're overthinking stuff, it's always worse in your mind than it actually is in reality anyhow.
Yeah, of
But
course.
it's about that self-talk, like stop telling yourself you're a piece of shit. Stop telling yourself that you're rubbish at this or you're crap at that. Start bigging yourself up the way you would your friends or your family. So
Mm.
the more positive you can be about yourself, the more confident you're going to feel, the better you're going to be. And I
Yeah.
think for me, if somebody's really, really confident in themselves, then they're very rarely going to struggle with anxiety, depression, or anything else because they've got that self-belief, they've got that confidence.
I think you said something on our last podcast, or it was one of the conversations we've had, and you said if you're having more bad days than good, that's the time where you know you need to take that first step of seeking help.
Yeah, it is. And again, for some people, it's just Groundhog Day, innit? They're just living each day and getting up
Mm.
and not wanting to do anything, not wanting to get out of bed. Whether they're going through a tough time in a relationship or highly stressed at work, but they've got all that stress on them. But they're just getting up and doing the same thing day after day. And if that's how you're feeling, speak to somebody, take that stress away. It makes all the difference. Like for
Yeah.
where I am now, even not so much now, but once I had therapy and I got help, I am not going to sit here and say therapy was amazing and I was totally better. I wasn't. Therapy was really difficult for 4 months, but it did teach me the basic fundamentals, basically, of what I was going through, why my body was reacting the way it was reacting, and then it gave me the choices to make about myself. So I could either go back to just carrying on as I was, drinking, eating crap, or I could start to look after myself and start to understand the mind and the body and the connection. And then that's when I started studying. And it was only when I started studying the mind and how it works and nutrition and how nutrition impacts our mental health and our health. Over the years, like leading up to now, I am in the best place I've ever been, like
Mm.
mentally. I And I think it's because I've gone through what I've got. If I hadn't gone through what I went through, then I maybe would hit a wall again or struggle. But I think we've all got a story, we've all got a journey. And when you're in that deepest, darkest place, just understand that you are going to get through it as long as you speak to somebody.
Yeah. I think to touch on that, it's don't you feel like we're all alone? Like when you're going through that roughest part, you feel like you're the only person going through that. But what you don't realize is the construction industry, over 90% of people are stressed.
Yeah.
Over 80% are overwhelmed. So many of us going through the same thing, but so many of us are reserved of our emotions and feelings, not speaking about it. I bet you, like you said, if we start talking about it, more people will speak about it.
Well, for me, and I say it after the end of my talks, I tell every person in that room to man
Hmm.
up and talk about your emotions.
I like that,
Because manning up for me before was just deal with it, just get on with it.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's my responsibility. I'm the provider. It's on me. So to me, manning up was just get on with it, deal with it. Now I know 100% manning up. It shows strength to take that first step. It shows strength to admit you're struggling with something, whether it's addiction, whether it's stress, whether it's personal relationship problem, whatever it is. It's difficult to admit that you need help, but by admitting it in that moment, it shows an enormous amount of strength.
Absolutely.
About
100%.
that. So for me, it's like, man up, talk about your emotions, talk about how you're feeling, because I
Huh.
guarantee once you talk,
Hmm.
them intrusive thoughts and all the rest of it, eventually they'll just disappear. Now,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, we all have intrusive thoughts every day. At some point, something will flash in our head and we'll have an intrusive thought. And it might be something really, really daft, like jabbing a stranger as they walk by. You don't know why it pops into your head, but that might be just me. But
No.
but we don't act on it. But when I remember getting that first thought of I should have died that day, and it hit me like a brick. And I don't know where it came
Mm.
from. I just thought, I've cheated death. And at that time, I felt, like you said, so alone. I didn't want to admit to I didn't want to worry my family. Didn't want them stressing, even though they already was. And it was like I remember thinking, I just can't be here no more. Like I'm not supposed to be here. And yeah, it's looking back now. It didn't scare me. You know, like at the time, it felt like it was normal. But all it was an intrusive thought. I should have been able to just push it away and be like, nah, don't be daft. Or like, you're meant to be it. But sometimes we get one of them intrusive thoughts and they stay. And when it becomes around about suicide, we start fantasizing about it and we start thinking about ways of doing it. And then we start convincing ourselves that family would be better off, like, but we go down that little spiral, that little journey before it happens. But talking to somebody when that thought sticks will help push it away.
Yeah, absolutely.
As you know, we're losing. I don't know the official statistics. I did a talk the other week, and a guy said it works out about 10 guys every week at the minute that are taking their own life through suicide.
Yeah, so it's around two construction workers.
I think it's 2 a day
every working day.
Yeah, two every working day. So it's 10 a week. And when I say that, when I'm doing talks and I explain it on the I talk about safety, but I talk a lot about mental health, obviously. And a lot of people can't believe that number, and it's like, that's just in construction.
It's just in construction.
There's like, I think I read there's like 146 people every week just in the UK. I might got that wrong, but I remember reading 140 some people. I don't know if it's every day or every week, but it's like it needs looking into. I mean,
of course,
construction industry. A lot of businesses are doing amazing things. A lot of organisations are doing amazing things. I've spoke for some companies who, like, I always used to laugh when companies say safety is our number one priority, and I'm like, no, it's not. Making money is your number one priority. Like, sites I've worked on, it's like, yeah, you can't do this, you need a permit, but then when something needs doing, because jobs come to an end, we'll just get that done. You know what I mean? It's but for a lot of companies that I've spoken for over the last couple of years, I truly believe safety and well-being is the number one priority. Like, for what they're putting in for the operatives and for the employees, it's above and beyond sometimes. But then there is other companies
who are doing the opposite.
And I know when I turn up to do a talk, whether the organisation's genuine about safety and well-being and they've got me in for that reason, or whether it's just a tick box and they can say, oh, we've had a speaker in. And then I go away and nothing changes. And I'll get messages saying nothing's changed.
Here's the question, right? I think a question that a lot of companies battle with is how much of it is their responsibility? Because ultimately, they are a business at the end of the day. They're there to make money. And looking after their staff is a great thing to do, of course, because it helps with staff retention, it helps with concentration, it reduces accidents. So having good mental well-being on site is hugely beneficial to construction companies. But then on the same token, it's fairly new. They don't have budgets in place for it. They are learning about it themselves. So I sometimes feel a bit bad. I've done it myself, where I've criticized companies for not doing enough, and then I've kind of stepped back and gone, actually, it's trying.
Safety is each individual's responsibility, same as the well-being. But I think what it is with some organisations, they've got to create that safe space for their employees.
That's right. Yeah, I agree with that.
You know what I mean? So it's like forget the well-being bit for now, but safety, using the PPE and the choices that we make on site is each individual's responsibility. It's not the company's. You're there to do your job. You do it as you've been trained, and you do it in the safest way, like using everything that you've got. And it's the same with the well-being. A company can't make you do anything. Like, if you're struggling, a lot of people don't talk about they've got problems with drink or drugs, or even if it's on a weekend, like they've gone a mad one on a weekend. But they don't admit it because they'll get marched off site and lose the jobs. And I think the more companies can create these safe spaces and encourage people to talk about the problems and addictions and whatever it is, without actually losing the job, then like offering that support. I think that's the kind of way it's got to be from the organisation, from their perspective. As we said, safety well-being is each individual's own.
So I guess as a company, it's weird. I'm going to just say, but it sounds as if people just need to be more human.
Yeah,
Where we see in other industries, people talk to each other a lot differently to construction. You go on construction sites, and almost within the first minute of being on a construction site, someone's swearing, someone's saying something. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
But you wouldn't get that in other industries. So people naturally talk to one another a lot more with empathy. But construction doesn't have that because, to be honest with you, you probably won't see that guy again next week anyway. So relationships are really hard to build. So
Yeah.
I can see the struggle. I can understand the struggle, and creating safe spaces on construction sites is incredible. But where do we start? How do we start that?
And the thing is as well, creating them safe spaces. But even back when I ain't been in construction now for 6 years, so
Mm,
a lot has changed in 6 years. But then a
yeah.
lot is still the same. A lot is still the
Mm,
same as it was 14 years ago when my accident happened. No, but I think the within construction, there's always going to be a lot of banter. Like
yeah.
there was always, we used to rip each other to bits,
Yeah.
and I think that's still there. You know, like, and I think a big part of that is because a lot of construction workers come from a similar background to what I did. Didn't
Yeah.
do amazing at school. Majority from a council estate or somewhere, like they're not really well off.
Mm,
I was used to living week to week, and my parents lived kind of week to week. And they're at the minute construction struggling to get people in to work.
yeah. Hugely. Yeah.
It's really difficult, but I think, and now obviously there haven't been a lot of foreign workers in because the people aren't leaving school or college and wanting to go into construction for whatever their
Mm,
reasons are. And I think people from my background, like I was brought up that way, were kind of brought up on banter and ripping each other to bits and man
yeah.
up and people say that mental health it's changing now. It's a lot better for the next generation, for the younger one. I often talked in colleges and sixth form and spoke to many 16, 17, 18-year-olds. And they'll come over to me and say, "Oh, thank you so much. My dad or my mum or my uncles are always telling me to man up and deal with it." You know what I mean? It's not man up and speak about it as I'm trying to get out now, but just man up and deal with it. Be a man. And it's like,
Mm,
what does it take to be a man? You know, like, so
confusion. Yeah.
even the generation coming through now are still going to have that stigma around them that we just deal with it ourselves. We've got to man up.
Mm,
And that's why men don't talk, because it's not manly to talk about your emotions.
yeah.
So that
We're,
cycle's still going.
mm,
And that's, like you said, we need to talk.
mm,
That is the bottom end of it. We need to start educating people on, yeah, you can have a laugh, you can have banter and all the rest of it. But if somebody has got an issue, don't laugh at them, don't take the piss out of them. You know what I mean? Be
yeah.
there for one another.
100%.
We should all be there for one another.
I think it's interesting. Just a couple of statistics I've got in my head for some reason, and that's like we need like 250,000 workers within the next 3 years, but 40% I think nearly 50%, sorry, of apprentices are dropping out before they're even making it to the end of
Yeah.
their apprenticeship. And then we've got the suicide rates. So we're consistently losing construction workers in the UK. And I understand it. It's a scary industry to come into. It's a really scary industry to come into. So we need to stop that stigma and start changing it to be a more positive place.
Yeah,
And I guess that starts with conversations.
it's a difficult job as well. You know, like
It is.
it took me a while to get my 360 ticket, but before that, I had a shovel in my hand, and I was either hand digging or smashing things up with a
Mm,
sledgehammer in demolition. You know, but it was all hard labour and hard work, and then you've got all these different procedures you've got to follow in your PPE, and you can't go in this out. And there's a lot you've got to learn and take on and it's a high risk environment.
yeah.
When you first go onto any site, it's high risk. You do one thing wrong, potentially you're causing yourself or somebody else harm. But
Yeah.
we suddenly, after being there day after day, week after week, it don't feel high risk no more. We'll walk past a 45-ton machine while it's lifting something, and it's like, oh yeah, it does it every day. You know, like
Yeah.
we become complacent and switch off.
Mm.
For the new generation coming in, it's a hard job, it's a scary job, and there's not a lot of fun in it at the minute because there's pressure on everyone and everything. Like say, cost of living, like trying to run a house, it's not paying the way it maybe should be. You know, it's a lot of agency, like a lot of construction. You've got to go through an agency rather than being took on full time, and yeah, it is a really really tough world to be in when it comes to construction. There's a lot of
Yeah.
stress, there's a lot of pressures.
Absolutely. There is. Unless if you're an electrician, then, everything's cool.
Yeah, but if you're an electrician, then you probably went to college, and then depending on what level you went, you might have even gone to uni. Whereas for a lot of my friends in construction, and myself, and my uncles, we left school with no GCSEs. We just construction was the only thing we could do. Get a job as a labourer, and that's how it started. And then they changed it from we weren't a labourer no more. We was an operative and or a ground worker.
Yeah.
And then for years, just on a jackhammer, just smashing out concrete. And looking back, it's really really hard work. It's difficult, but it's like my lad now, 18, and he's doing his plumbing course. He's at college, so he's got further than I got. Like I didn't get to college, but there's times he gets a bit pissed off and he's like, "Oh, I might just leave." And I'm like, "No, you know what? You'll stick it out." You know what I mean? Because you'll be thankful for it eventually. But it's getting a trade behind you and working within construction is an amazing thing.
Gotcha. You know, 100%.
Electrician, plumber, carpenter, whatever it might be. But for a lot of guys who are ground workers, it's really really hard, and my thoughts are with all of them guys that are struggling as well. The money's not amazing.
So you know what? Let's say you are a young person, you ain't got GCSEs, construction is the only option for you. Let's talk about some of the positives, because I think we've touched on a hell of a lot of negatives. Someone listening to this again, I ain't ever getting involved in that. But there's actually positives to it as well. And I think you're a perfect example of it, where you came in without many qualifications. You trained yourself up, right?
Yes.
Could you share the positives of your journey? Because you had a super negative when you had your accident, but before that,
before and after that, I decided that I got talking to one of our safety guys where I was working, and I was hand digging alls. And then I said, "Look, I want to do something different." I was like 21, and I said, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "Well, I want to be able to operate machinery. I want to be in a digger." And he was like, "Right, well, you can't just go straight into a digger." He said, "First thing we'll do is we'll get you on the crusher." And basically, demolition. It's a construction site company, but they had their own demolition company, like civils and demo. And I was like, yeah. And back then, you could stand on the crushers while it's crushing the concrete and throw the rebar out. And for the first couple of months, I loved it. I'd been promoted. I had all my PPE on. I'm stood in these jaws crushing concrete, and it was like, yeah. And then after I'd been on it a bit, it was like, oh, do this job. So so I had a conversation again, and then I ended up getting my dumper ticket, my Moxie dumper ticket. And then I did that for a bit, and then they asked me if I'd do my loading shovel, so I did my loading shovel. And then eventually, shouldn't really say this because I advise everybody not to get in any machinery if they're not trained on. But one dinner time, I'd never been in a digger, and I thought it looked easy. And it was any crushing, I had jaws on it was just crushing concrete. So I gets in, everyone's gone for dinner, I jumps in this machine, I'm 22 years of age, and I just started operating it, and I got the feel for it straight away. And then I'm crushing the concrete, and then the manager came down in his 4x4 and saw the machine working, and he thought it was Darren who was normally in the machine. He got out and he was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, I just wanted to. He said, "Well, you're operating it better than most of our drivers." He said, "If that's what you want to do, we'll sort your ticket." So I went from being a labourer to a Alma plant, and then even after my accident, I went on myself and got my telehandler and my rough terrain fork truck and a few other plant tickets. But so yeah, it is. The options are there, but so to better yourself, to work your way, even going to management. Like I did my triple STS and was a site supervisor as well, and all of that was with no GCSEs or college.
That is the beauty of construction, right? You can walk into it at the lowest of levels, but with hard work, determination, and a little bit of sacrifice, you can make it to a really well respected job.
Yeah, you can make a career out of it, and as you start
Absolutely.
heading towards your 50s, and you don't want to be like labouring as such, there is a lot of opportunity to move along and get yourself in the office. Like my plan was before the accident was do my knee-bosh and get into safety. That was something I'd
Oh.
always spoke about,
hmm
and then I got blown up, so I never.
I laugh at that, but it was bloody. That's just the way you said it. I got blown up. It was a little bit more intense than that, but yeah.
But no, like I say, I don't want us to paint a negative picture on construction. Like suicide rate in construction is the highest, which is it needs to be spoke about a lot more. Struggling to get workers within construction. There is a lot of negatives, but as we said, there's also a lot of positives, and there's a lot of good careers aspects in there. And the banter, like that's the one thing I miss now about being on site. It's just having my mates around me, you know, like, and looking back now, when I was struggling at my worst, I know that I could have spoke to any one of them and they'd have been there for me. But instead I didn't. I just smiled and said, I'm all right. And I wasn't. But if I'd have told them how I was feeling, they'd have been there for me. They'd have given me the support. Even like financially and stuff, I got to a point I was really struggling. But you don't want to ask anyone because you don't want. I mean, you don't want to look like you're struggling if that sounds.
Of course.
Right.
Especially in this day and age where we compare ourselves consistently to so many different people on social media, you never want to look like you're the one that's going through something hard.
Yeah, exactly. Looking back now, I'm glad I've done everything the way I've done it. Because if I hadn't gone through the struggles and done what I wouldn't be who I am today, sat having this conversation. So I believe everything happens for a reason. We've all got a story. We've all got a journey, and we take lessons from that. But I wish I had have spoke to somebody and not gone through what I went through and put my family what I put them through. Because there was a lot of anger and a lot of shouting and a lot of drinking and and it could have all been prevented if I'd just admitted that I need help.
Yeah, for sure. So, the hardest step is the best step, but we've got to push that.
I explain to everybody, especially if we're in construction, we understand halls, we understand ladders. If you're in a bad place, you're in that big, deep trench. Do you know what I mean? And you're struggling to get out. If nothing changes, if you don't talk to nobody, you can't get out of that trench. You're just going to keep walking within that trench. But the second you admit to yourself, you could do with some support, you could do with a bit of help, you could do with to talk or someone to listen, then someone passes a ladder into that trench. All you've got to do is take that first step.
And that's exactly where companies' wellbeing initiatives come into place. I think that's such a brilliant analogy you've used there. It's when a man's in the trench, it's the companies that's providing that ladder to come out and go, you know what, rather than sacking you off and kicking you out the door, we've got a support system in place ready to help you. Yeah, I guess that's a really good analogy to use, actually. Oh, I really do like that one.
Yeah, it's just, I'll pass the ladder. You've just got to take that first step. You've got to admit that you want help, that you need support. And I know through personal experience, your life changed. 100%. People's lives change. And I spent a lot of time as well in my darkest times living in my past. So because of the negativity I was thinking from the trauma and the accident, I also started overthinking other stuff from my past and as a kid and what I'd gone through and why me, like why does everything keep happening to me? But what I've now learned is yesterday's gone. So
Can't get it back. Yeah,
it don't matter
sure.
it don't matter what's happened, because if we're struggling, normally it's because of something that's happened. But if we learn to live in the now, in the present, which is all there is, there's nothing else. But yesterday's just a memory; it's gone.
Yeah.
So
for
if we
sure.
can learn to just let go, forgive ourselves, forgive anybody else for anything that's making us feel the way we're feeling. If we can let go of that and just focus on being here now today, who we are, then it takes a lot of that struggle away.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to quickly go back to something you mentioned. Another positive to a construction site that's just triggered in my mind is, yes, there's banter. Yeah, you'll probably be called an idiot a couple times a day, but I don't recall a time where I've gone, I don't know what I'm doing, and one of my colleagues hasn't just gone, mate, I'll drop what I'm doing. Give me a couple of minutes. I'll be with you. I'll teach you how to do it.
Yeah.
And I don't know many guys on site that won't take 10, 15, half an hour at their time to come give you a hand, and you do the same.
Yeah.
So there is that.
But again,
Yeah.
in that is like there's examples of that where accidents have happened and on site because someone struggled with something and they've asked a friend to come over and help them, and they're not
Yeah.
on the work permit and they've come in the area and
Of
then
course.
fell
Yeah.
into a pit. And so again, you've got to be careful within them realms. But I get what you're saying with it, as in you're doing a job, you're wiring something up, your head's gone, you ring a mate, yeah, close fish, I'll be there in a minute.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah.
And we've had it, and it's again, I've seen a few arguments on site, but no ever major. Again, that aspect of it, you've got your different trades, and normally there will be like banter and that's our lay down area, get that shifted, I've got a crane coming in, blah, blah, blah. But I've never seen any threats or fights or all like that. Everybody works together and everybody gets on.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think the more we can push that, the more we can encourage communication, which is something I'm big on. The more we can encourage everybody to communicate in any kind of way, just talking as you pass, introducing. If you haven't spoken to a certain guy, you've seen him on site, have a chat, get to know each other. Because the more we all know each other, we're going to work together. We'll create that team. And the job will go a lot better. You'll feel better.
Absolutely.
Because again, there's people who are really lonely in the personal lives who are working in construction, and then they get to work and they haven't got the confidence to really speak to anybody, and nobody really speaks to them, so they're just getting on with the job, and they're feeling down, they're feeling low. If we all just look out for each other, and somebody is working a lot, no one's really interacting with them, go and interact with them, go and ask them how they're doing. Just make everyone feel included.
Absolutely. And it takes courage to do that, but it's usually just like, how's it going, mate? You all right? And that's it. And it's just a couple of like one short sentence will kick off a conversation and just see where it goes. So there's no pressure. Just have a chat. And over a month.
It's like I said, guy in the gym last night, didn't he? And he's like, I was like, how are you doing? And then it's like, he looks at me because obviously I'm working out and I'm pretty like big. And we get talking, and then I think people look at me and think I just want to fight because of the tattoos, because of SARS, my bald head. It's like, but then I'm like, how are you doing? Are you all right? And then that's it. People just open up to me, and then we ended up talking for. I was in the gym for an hour, and I was talking to him for like 35 minutes. So I didn't do much of a workout. But he walked away saying, I needed that. Thank you so much. And sometimes that is all it takes. It's just a conversation with somebody. You don't know what's going on in somebody else's world and in the mind. And if somebody looks a bit like as if they're in their own head, just take that moment just to be like, how are you doing? And when they go, yeah, like, no, but seriously, how are you doing? Because if you ask once, they are just going to fob you off. If you ask twice, they're likely to say, yeah, I'm going through something at the minute.
Yeah.
It's like,
I think it's like second nature. When somebody says, "How you doing?" Yeah. I'm all right, mate. Like, and then when somebody asks again, you pause, don't you? And you go, "Damn it, they actually care."
and then you feel like you've got to say something. It's like, oh yeah. But even London for me is one of the most difficult places to just, like, I'm a typical northerner. Wherever I go, I pass someone in the street, I'm like, all right. And they'll be like, all right. Go down London way, you walk past somebody, make eye contact, and go, all right. They'll look at you like you're some kind of alien. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
look away. But yeah, I've even managed to start conversations in London, which and get people talk. Like I had one guy got talking. He had his own company, dressed in a suit and everything. And I said, "How are you doing?" And he was like, "Give me a few." And I was like, "You all right?" He was like, "Do I know you?" I was like, "No, I'm just asking how you're doing." And then with that, we ended up having a coffee and talking for an hour. And he was going through a really, really tough time with his missus. And he said, "I feel so much better for talking about it." And I was like, "And that's what we need to do. That's what we need to encourage."
Yeah, and it's not weird. You know, I think that's another problem, right? I think, especially in construction for me, if somebody's like a supervisor or a project manager come up to me and gone, "Hey, Dan, you're right," you don't want to tell them a problem because you're so scared. And are they trying to catch me out? Do they want to know something today so that they screw me over tomorrow?
Yeah.
But I think the mindset's changing because I think even the project managers, the QSs, all of them, they're struggling. They're struggling. You know, they want to be there for you. The humanity needs to come back. Is coming back.
As I said earlier, we've all got a story. We all live in our own individual world. Everybody has got something going on. Nobody is living that perfect life.
Yeah,
No matter
100%.
who they are, what they've got. It's what's going on in here. And again, that's why we have so many celebrities who seem to have everything, like massive bank accounts, massive house, amazing cars, and still take their own life, and people can't get their heads around it. And it's because it's not about that. It's about you as an individual and what's happening in here, and what your perspective of your world is.
Yeah.
And it's how you're seeing the world. But what we've got to realise is we are all the gods of our own individual world. We manifest our lives with what's in here. So if we're seeing negative in everything, that's what it's gonna be. If our self-talk is I'm an idiot, I'm this, I'm that, I'm useless, then you're never gonna be a confident person. Whereas if you can change that self-talk, you can start seeing everything from a different perspective. You create your world. Then we can all learn to help each other in that sense and kind of combine together, because it's about that energy. If we can all be positive and be there for each other, like I just want to hug everybody. People think I want to fight everybody, but it's like, yeah.
Now I'll give you a virtual hug, mate, any day.
Well, it is. It's about that energy. It's about that positive energy. And if you're in a really dark place, if you're in a low place, it's because your energy is so low, and it's because your mind's been in that negative space for a period of time over whatever it might be, and that's where the depression comes in, and then we start overthinking anxiety. If you can, the first step is always talking to somebody, but I know that's difficult. But if you can even change your own self-talk and stop being so hard on yourself, and like I said at the beginning, big yourself up in the same way you would if a friend or a family member had come up to you and said they was feeling how you're feeling, you would be then saying to them, "No, you're amazing, blah, blah, blah." Our self-talk often in that, we're the opposite. So our self-talk needs to change. We need to be more positive about ourselves. That then gives us the confidence to start taking that next step to talking to somebody else and telling them, "Yeah, I've been struggling with this, I've been struggling with that." But when my mind was at that darkest place, I know that my self-talk was not nice. You know what I mean? I had a voice in my head telling me that I need to jump off a bridge. My family will be better off if I did. And I now know it was my voice. You know what I mean? It was a voice talking to it. It's my voice. And we all have, as far as I'm aware, we all have that inner voice, that thought.
Inner critic. Yeah.
And use that. It's your voice.
Mm.
So even if you're having intrusive thoughts, flip it. You know what I mean? It's learn to control your mind. Don't let your mind control you. You learn to control your mind.
Mm.
Change.
I've done a podcast with one of the other Onward Shift coaches, and she said a really interesting thing. She said, when you're having these negative, intrusive thoughts, just say change. Just say change, and soon you'll start realizing that change means I'm thinking of something negative. Okay, I can sit with this. I can go, okay, you crack on. You have that negative thought, but I'm not going to believe it. I'm not going to give that negative thought energy. And the second I say change, I'm going to shift my focus on something else. And I just thought that was a really quick way of snapping out of it. And I actually use it now because I have these negative thoughts all the bloody time. Am I good enough? Am I doing this right? Loads of negative thoughts all the bloody time. And the second I say change, now I'm like, okay, I'm ready to move on from that thought. It's not the right space to be.
We've all got a superpower. Like
Yeah.
we've all got a superpower, and it's that, and it's you being in control of that, and knowing that voice is going to come at you, but you're in charge of it. Change it. Like for me, I've worked with clients and they'll have like a negative, intrusive thought, and I'm like, right, you've got to use your imagination, and you've got to either imagine turning down a dial, which is going to turn down the sound and turn it off, or learn to squeeze it and push it away. Like just push that negative thought away and think of something positive. And if you're struggling to think of something positive, use your imagination to make it bigger. Because the more we learn how to work with this, again, we create our world around us.
Yeah, absolutely. God,
So,
it's the hardest thing to do, but I think we've both been in situations in life where it's been shit, to be fair. And the hardest thing to do is stand up and talk to someone. But honestly, from the bottom of my heart, anyone listening to this, please, 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 just pluck up the courage and just start that conversation. And you'll soon find the rest of the words just come out. The hardest bit is just that little bit, a couple of sentences, just get it out, and it will get easier. And I
does.
think there's another point I want to add into that, and that is, let's say you go to speak to someone and somebody does use man up. I'll just go over it. Don't give up. Don't give up because one person hasn't understood it. Try another person.
Yeah.
Because not every person will understand it straight away.
Exactly.
Go speak to someone else.
And that is the case as well. Like so many people, I've worked with people who said, I tried getting help and I spoke to so and so, and they just said they can't help me, and then they kind of give up from there. Like, and I did it. My first therapy session, I sat with a therapist and I told her everything, and she had a tear in her eye. She said, "Steve, I'm sorry, but I can't help you. I'm not qualified enough." No, she was being genuine. She wasn't qualified enough. She couldn't help me. But in my mind, nobody could help me. And she's just cemented that. Like, nobody can help me because I'm not supposed to be here. I need to go. I need to end it. And then, thankfully, I saw a different therapist the following day. And she smiled and said, "Of course I can help you. PTSD is what I specialise in." And that was like a big weight just being lifted. As soon as she said I can help and explained a little bit to me, I just thought, and she was telling me how I was feeling without me even saying anything. And I thought, well, she must know, like, because I thought this was just me. But she's explaining it to me. And then she told me that millions of people all over the world are feeling the way I'm feeling. I'm not alone. And that's how it is now for anyone listening to this. If you're in that dark space, if you're struggling, if you're feeling alone, you're not. Just reach out, speak to somebody, contact myself.
Absolutely.
Because we're not alone, and we don't have to deal with it alone. And if we are struggling to find help, there is always somebody who's willing to help. And as long as I'm available, I will help.
Absolutely. I'll definitely put your TikTok and stuff like that in the bio so people can just click and come find you. And obviously, it's another thing on that is, when you get the right help or you speak to the right person, for me personally, I found it was like my lungs opened up and I could
Yeah,
breathe again. It's like that first,
yeah.
I don't know how to explain it, but it's
It,
like that first breath of fresh air.
for me, it was like carrying a massive heavy rucksack, and then all of a
Yeah,
sudden it's just being taken off, and your shoulders lift, and it's like, wow, like because you've been feeling down for so long, and then all of a sudden
yeah.
it's like, and then it's just day after day after that, it's just focusing on yourself. But
There's a way out. There is a way
again,
out.
you can say it 1,000,001 times, but we need to talk.
Yeah,
People need to talk, because if you're struggling but you're smiling and saying, yeah, I'm all right, I'm good, when you're not, you're having intrusive thoughts about not being here, or well, you can't see that, and nobody can just help if they don't understand, if they don't know what you're going through. So for me,
absolutely.
it's not just guys in construction, but for everybody. Like women, there's a lot of women as well that I know have died through suicide. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's they
absolutely.
also, a lot of women, even though they say women talk more, a lot don't. A lot don't want to worry the partners or put stress on anybody, so they deal with it alone in the same way guys do.
Yeah,
But nobody should deal with anything alone, whether it's
yeah.
financial, whether it's addiction, whatever it might be. Talk to somebody.
Mm, absolutely. I know
So,
we're coming up to the end of the podcast, so I want to ask you two questions.
uh,
First question is, how are you? Genuinely, no BS. How are you?
mentally amazing, really, really good.
Good. Nice.
Physically, I'm just feel tired and drained, but I have just had 11 days in Cyprus doing nothing, and I think I've come back. Whether I've got a bit of a bug or something, but I ache and feel lethargic. But other than that, I'm good. But no, but like I said, mentally, I'm good. Work wise, everything's going well. I'm getting that message out there. Relationship wise, my wife is absolutely amazing. So, I mean, every aspect of my life is in a really, really good place.
So I've got another question now. So it's going to be three questions. Sorry. From where you was not long ago in life, right? I know it feels like a long time ago, but it really wasn't. Time flies. To now, where you're in this amazing space. What do you do daily? Like, do you meditate? I don't know, what do you do daily to stay where you are?
As soon as I open my eyes in the morning, I never, if I don't really set an alarm, because I get up at 6:30, 7 every morning, no matter what.
Hmm.
So I don't have to set an alarm. But when I wake up, the first thing I do is think of 7 things I'm grateful for, and I've done
Really?
that. I've done that religiously. I don't write it down no more, but it's the first thing I do when I wake up. 7 things that I'm grateful for and why, because instantly that puts that positive spin. I'm thinking positively rather than negatively.
Mm.
And for me, we've all got an energy bar from our feet to our head. When we wake up in the morning, that energy bar is normally about halfway. And if we wake up with negative thoughts, it's going to drop. And
Mm.
then you go down somehow, it drops. So we've got to try and build that bar up through the day and get it as high as possible. So by focusing on 7 things that I'm grateful for first thing as soon as I wake up, it makes me feel good, puts a smile on my face, that energy bar raises. I then come downstairs, throw my dogs in the garden, get a glass of water. Normally have a couple of glasses of water to make sure I'm hydrated after I've brushed my teeth and everything. And
Mm.
then I don't always have breakfast. Sometimes I don't eat till after 12, but I might have a little bit of toast or something. But then I will just sit for 10 minutes and meditate
Really?
in the morning. So, and people say, oh, I've tried meditating, I can't do it. It's like, there's nothing. All you're going to do is close your eyes. You're going to sit. You're going to breathe in through your nose, hold it, breathe out through your mouth, and just learn to focus on nothing. When thoughts
Mm.
start popping in, and it's really good for controlling intrusive thought. So when
Mm.
thoughts start coming in, because they're gonna, if you sit there not doing nothing, but you learn to use your imagination to shrink them out and push them away until you get to a point where it's just clear, which
Mm.
is difficult, and it's not going to happen after 1 or 2 meditation sessions. But the more you practice, like anything we do, the more you practice it, the better you get at it.
Mm.
And the more you can just practice pushing them thoughts away and imagining pushing them away, for me, it gives you more control over your mind.
Yeah.
And so that's what I do when I meditate. I just sit there focusing on pushing thoughts back out my mind again and trying to keep it just still. And now I've got to a point where once I relax, I just see blue sky and clouds when I close my eyes, which is weird because some of the blues are so vivid, and it's like, where's that come from? You know what I mean? It's in my imagination.
Mm.
So meditation for me, meditation's a must. If somebody's struggling, like meditating for 10 minutes twice a day is proven to help with not just your mental health, but your physical health. Brings your
Wow.
cortisol levels down and your stress levels, and yeah, it's so good. But
Wow.
yeah, and that's it really.
Can I ask you another question? Oh my God.
You can ask me lots.
When you say you wake up in the morning and you have gratitude for 7 things, could you share a couple of things that you have gratitude for, as examples?
So obviously they change all the time because I've
Of
done it
course,
every
of
morning.
course.
But simple things like as soon as I wake up, I'll be thankful for the blinds that are keeping the sun out my face,
Mm.
and I'll be thankful for the wardrobe that's got my clothes in it. I'll be
Mm.
thankful for my toothbrush. I'll be thankful for. And then there's the obvious things. I'm thankful for my family. I'm thankful for my dogs. I'm thankful for my health. I'm thankful for the house.
Mm.
There's a million and one things that you can be grateful for. Even the carpet that my feet are on at the minute, what feels nice and soft. There's a million and one things, and all you've got to do is pick 7 of them when you wake up.
Mm.
Like you'd be grateful for them amazing headphones that you've got on your head.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
It's,
absolutely. No, you're right.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter what it is, but that feeling of gratitude is a positive feeling.
Mm.
So as soon as you open your eyes, you're thinking of 7 things that you're grateful for, and you don't have to sit there for 5 minutes. You could just go through it in your head really quick, but feel that you're thankful for it. And
That feeling is, yeah, great. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
the feeling is the key to it all. Like you
Yeah.
can't just think it and that's it. You know, like
Mm.
you've got to really appreciate what it is that you're grateful for. And it can be the little things, like I say, toothpaste you've got to brush your teeth with. It can be anything.
Mm. Yeah.
But by creating that positivity inside you, it brings that bar up, and it puts you throughout the day. Then, if you get a lot of people who are negative thinkers, the folks that see a lot of negative. If you can start training your mind to focus on the positive when you wake up on gratitude, you'll notice that throughout the day, you start seeing the positives rather than the negatives.
Mm.
And then your world becomes a lot more positive.
It's so interesting when you said about the energy bar. I instantly, well, I've stopped now, but back in the day, I used to jump on social media. My eyes would be like half open, and I'd be like social media, and then I'd be like, oh, you can actually feel your energy go down.
Yeah.
And just as soon as you were saying this, and I was like, okay, cool. As you were talking, I was saying, oh, what am I grateful for? And I'm like, yeah, I've missed a few. I've missed a few like positives instantly.
Yeah.
Like headphones, yeah, I use these all the time.
You've got everything that's surrounding you in that room.
Mm.
There's people out there who's on the streets got nothing, but I bet they'd even find things to be grateful for. We can all find gratitude,
Yeah.
and it's one of the strongest positive emotions, positive feelings. So you learn to be thankful, to be grateful.
Mm.
So learn that feeling. Again, it's just a confidence builder. And then by meditating and learning to push them negative thoughts away, them intrusive thoughts, you become Superman in a sense. You know what I mean? And that's why for
Mm.
me, as I said, I'm mentally in the best place I've ever been, and that's probably because of it's because of where I've been. I mean, I've gone on that journey, I've learned from it, but I've read so much as well. I've done so many courses, obviously, just to have qualifications that I've got and blah blah blah. But I
Mm.
read and listen to Audible constantly,
Mm.
and I think that also helps when it comes to mental health. if somebody's struggling but they're not really a reader, start learning about the mind yourself. Start learning about why you're feeling and thinking the way you're thinking.
Yeah.
Because the more we learn, the more we understand, the more the mind opens up.
And you're right, if you're not a reader, you can listen to podcasts, you can actually get audibles, so you don't have to read physically, you can just have it in your ears.
Yeah, there's a million and one different ways to get that information now. Obviously, we've all got Wi-Fi. You've got so many different ways, like you said, podcasts, Audible, reading, YouTube. There's a million and one different ways to get that information. But the more we can educate ourselves, again, the better you'll be moving forward.
My final question for you. My final one, I promise.
I'm sure we started off with two.
Keep popping up, but my final one is, what advice would you give younger people today to live a better life? And, of course, protect their mental health.
Learn to understand themselves as who they are,
Mm-hmm.
to start with. Understand that everybody else has opinions, but that's all it is an opinion. It's not your reality. So if someone tells you you're not good enough, that's just their opinion. It's not anything else. So learn to understand yourself and other people. You know what I mean? But stay away from the obvious. Stay away from alcohol. If people do drink, then drink sensibly. When I was a kid, we all went out with the intention of just getting off it, and that was it. You know, like we want sensible. But look after your health. If you basically, what we drink impacts that the mental health. So understand your body, understand what you're putting into it, because if you are going to smoke weed and drink a lot, it is going to have a negative impact on your mental health. No matter who you are. I've got mates from when I was younger and smoked weed for years, and I was like, oh, it doesn't affect me. And now they're schizophrenic and hearing voices, and it's all down to substance. You know what I mean? So look after yourselves. Go to the gym. Watch what you're eating. It all sounds really, really boring, but in fact, once you get into it, it's a better life.
Absolutely.
Like people think I ain't drank for 3.5 years. I've just been to Ayanapa. As soon as I said, when people say, where you going, it's like Ayanapa, they're like, partying. It's like, well, yeah, but without the drugs or the alcohol. So, I mean, you can still have a good life and enjoy yourself and go to amazing places that don't eat red meat, don't drink. So people think I must be really, really boring. But no.
Far from it.
Far from it. We still do amazing things, and everyone can, but just look after yourself that little bit more. As I always say, tomorrow is not promised for any of us. So, I mean, no one knows what today is going to bring. But if you're taking the right steps and looking after yourself, not taking silly risks, then there's a good chance you'll see tomorrow. But it's all about the choices that we make on a daily basis. The choices we make today are going to impact us in 5-10 years' time.
Absolutely.
As to where our health, our mental health is going to be, where we're going to be in life. So each day is about making the right choices. So basically, look after yourself.
That's incredible advice, Steve. Thank you so much, and thank you so much for being on the episode, on the show again, and for giving such an incredible episode.
We kind of went all over, didn't we? And
yeah,
we both realised we were painting a bit of a negative picture around construction, so we corrected that a little bit and flipped it back.
Exactly.
But no, as always, Vish, it's great speaking to you. And if anybody does want any help or advice, and you're hearing this, then feel free to just message me, contact me. Nobody should be struggling. That's how I see it. We all know somebody. So if you're going through something, speak to somebody. We don't always need professional help. We don't always need a psychologist or a therapist. Sometimes we just need somebody to listen, a friend, family, a stranger. And once we let it out there, we release that emotion. So sometimes it's just having that courage to admit to yourself you need support. and then talking to somebody.
Absolutely.
So for me, yeah, if you're going to take anything away from all of this, it's just that. It's man up. Talk about your emotions.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Steve. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you.
If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Honestly, the more people we reach, the more support we can offer. And don't forget, Onward Shift isn't just a podcast. We've got a number of resources on our website, so please don't forget to check out www.onwardshift.com, where you'll find counsellors, keynote speakers, coaches, blogs, and so much more. Until next time, don't forget to keep having these important conversations.